Good evening, folks. You see, I took my mask off by state law as an exception. If you can't hear me, if it's muffled, I can take it off. So we do have our 6-foot distance. Good evening, everybody. I want to call our meeting to order and also welcome the Honorable Mayor Donna Aaron back. I know it's good to see her again. I know she's been under the weather and beside the weather, but she's fair in the Midland, as my granddaddy used to say. She's fair in the Midland right now, so we appreciate you being back. Yes, ma'am. I'd like to, again, lead us in prayer, and from the prayer we'll go into the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible. For all. Mr. McCullum, call roll, please.
Councilman Roberts.
Here.
President Logan.
Here.
Councilman Hinton.
Here.
Councilman Davis.
Mr. McCullum, I want to make sure Councilman Davis is still on military training. I talked to him today. He should be back in town July 31st. He said he is entertaining or help coordinating some other units around the state, so he's in a big training outfit right now. He's out of town, so he will be back July 31st.
Councilman Hogg.
Here.
We have a quorum, Mr. President.
Item 5, approval of our agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as printed?
I'll make that motion.
That's a motion by Councilman Roberts. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Hinton. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. McCullum.
Councilman Roberts.
Yes.
President Logan.
Yes.
Councilman Hinton.
Yes.
Councilman Hogg.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item 6, formal visitors to address our council. These are members of the citizen body that have formally come through and requested addressing an issue with the council on the actual agenda, separate from the public comment section. So I see 6A is Tracy Ferguson. Tracy Ferguson. Come on up, Ms. Tracy, please come on up and state your name and address for the record.
I'm Tracy Ferguson. I live at 3260 Palmetto Street, Northport, 35475.
Ms. Tracy, you were saying there were some flooding issues in or near Huntington Gardens. Can you kind of explain what that may be?
Our neighborhood's in the city. Cedarwood Avenue right behind us is part of the county. The city and the county engineers have come out and looked at it. There's a drain that runs not directly behind my house, but one house over. On Easter and on 4th of July, my whole backyard was a small creek. The neighbor next to me, her house flooded for the second time. And the neighbor next to her, because the drain runs in between the two of them, her whole backyard was flooded too. The only reason it's not getting to my house and Miss Libby's house is our house is built up a little where the Phillips's house is not. So it's just pouring into their house. I reached out to Eddie Wiggins, who built our neighborhood. He basically told me all he's responsible for is building them, not any issues that arise with the neighborhood later on. He said that he sent us all a certified letter 2 years ago telling us to stop contacting him and to get a homeowners association. I've lived in Huntington Gardens for 12 years. I've never gotten a certified letter. I've checked with my neighbors that have been here a long time too. They never received a certified letter. We don't have a homeowners association. Mr. Wiggins still owns lots in our neighborhood, And my understanding is because he owns the neighborhood, he was supposed to keep up with the front entrance, with the sign, the cutting the grass. Me and a neighbor down the street take turns paying to have it done. There are houses all throughout our neighborhood. Every time it rains, their whole yard is underwater, not just at the front of the neighborhood, the whole neighborhood. Supposedly this was built on a swamp. When it couldn't pass the perk test, he talked it in to being annexed into the city. In return, he was to build a nature trail that went from our neighborhood to Huntington Elementary in exchange for them annexing so it would pass being built. We need help. I mean, I've spent over $1,000 this summer trying to replace my fence, bring it in sand, to try to help with the erosion. Nothing's working. The front of my house over the garage, the brick is starting to separate where they say my house is sinking in. 2 doors down, there is the power box and a light pole. They both have a sinkhole underneath them. The light pole's leaning and so is the power box. We call Alabama Power. They come out and put some sand to lift it back up, but that's it. My next door neighbor's with me, and Mr. Johnson that lives behind me is here also.
Ms. Ferguson, again, thank you for coming up. You did say you met with the city and county engineers. Is that?
They've both come out. I only met with the city engineer. Mr. Enders came out, and then a Mr. Mike Henderson came out.
Okay.
They
That will
both-
be county. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay, the
Yeah.
county then.
Okay.
I didn't meet with Doug Varman. He came on a day I wasn't home.
Okay. Okay.
Mr. President, if I may, we did staff this, and I would love for Mr. Varnon to have the opportunity to respond. I also had legal counsel went out there and looked at it as well, along with the county engineer, and they made some suggestions to mediate the problem and to remediate the problem. So if you don't mind, Doug, would you mind sharing with your permission, Mr. President?
Yes, sir. Ms. Ferguson, this is Doug Varner. He's our city engineer, his firm, and he will give us an update when he met with staff in regards.
Thank you.
Mr. President, she is correct. We've been contacted twice this year about this issue. I went to look at it back after the Easter event and happened to run into Scott Anders while I was there. We looked and came back, looked at the construction plans, and we're going to try to work on some possibilities to help the flow of water get into the pipe. A little bit more head on the water before it flowed into the yards would have helped a lot, but with their fences, their property lines being the city-county line, any way to add additional head to the water, make the water deeper to force it into the pipe, that work would have to be done on county property. There is a 10-foot easement, the way I understand it, on the county's portion, and the city is working with Scott Anders to look at some type of maybe concrete in treatment to help funnel the water, reduce the energy loss going into the pipe, to basically help funnel it into the pipe to get more capacity out of the pipe. And I'm supposed to be talking to Scott this week. Circle back around with him. We talked last week as well.
All right, Ms. Ferguson, again, I'm going to try to pull that into J terms, so to speak. So he's working with county engineers to try to figure out a way to get as much water into a pipe, a particular size, because I don't think you're going to upgrade the pipe. You're basically trying to figure out a way to get as much water as you can into that pipe before it gets into the yard. And that's that reduced energy value he was talking about. Is that?
Yes.
All right. Ms. Ferguson, you got anything else you want to? Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Ferguson. I'm sorry. Come on up. So I'm gonna jump. I know Ron's with our legal team, so I'm gonna allow Mr. Davis to kind of speak from a legal standpoint as well in regards.
Well, I did, and I can't, with everybody's mask on, I can't see him, maybe right here, but Mr. Johnson met with us. He was very nice. And what you've got, he has a very large yard that's in the county, and then we have in gardens, a lot of smaller homes with the fence like it was originally put up, and then between there, it would be a lot easier. Whatever remedial work is done on the county, which would be on, obviously, we wouldn't do anything on his property without his permission, but he would help and understand the problem. But there you are. Okay, good. Appreciate that. We would work with you, and like I said, we wouldn't do anything without getting with you first.
I've been there, I have been in this place for 41 years, and we've never, of course, had that kind of problem until the buildings went up back there, and this drainage ditch is on an easement section of my property. And I've called the county over the years, and they wouldn't do anything about it. And I understand, I don't know why they won't do it, but they will not do an easement. I told them to, I don't mind them working on in my yard, do whatever they got to do to it, as long as they don't tear it up. That's the main thing. But I have no objection because I'm losing yard because it floods my lower section of the yard too, as it goes into the other neighborhood. And I can understand these people are really in bad shape, right? At least 4 houses right in behind me there.
I live directly behind Mr. Johnson.
That's what we looked at. If the, I think under the circumstances, we can make it work so the city can legally do some work there, even though it technically is in the county, but do it in conjunction with the county because it would help protect our citizens. I made a couple of let me know that it would make it work. I'll stick with the legal and let him do the engineering. But Mr. Johnson was very helpful, and much because he has a very large yard, and so it'd be much easier to actually do the work there rather than tearing up 4 or 5 yards. Try to do something that makes sense for everyone, and we appreciate you being willing to do that.
Mr. Johnson, just for a point of reference for the record, give me your address. That way we'll have it for the record. 3011 Meadow Street. Mr. Johnson, Northport. Thank you.
Corner house just before it goes into the Huntington Meadows there. It's the corner house just before you go in on the left.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Ron, have you have you mentioned to them they have greater recourse if they do an HOA as opposed to being individual property owners to try and tackle this problem?
I have not talked with him. I just talked with him.
I would highly recommend you do an HOA. A lot of these problems, I'm not supposed to say that we got a lot of crappery builders that built stuff around here, but they did.
Well, that was my next request of the city council. Is there not any way to stop Eddie Wiggins building anything else till he fixes the mess? He knew he was putting us on a swamp. He knew he didn't dig deep enough, and now we're all falling back into that swamp while he's still building in our neighborhood and building at Bristol Park.
I've probably gotten into trouble a lot of times over my lifetime, and this is probably not one of them that I want to get in trouble with, but you folks need to do an HOA. You need to do it quickly, and you need to address that they're still building in that area. He does have to comply with, when was Huntington Place built?
I think 15 years ago.
I've
been there 12 years. Miss Virginia down the street from me's been there 15 years, and she was one of the original homeowners.
I'm just going to say this as a generality. I think that there was a lot of stuff that went on before 2009 that you can't do today. I live in Northwood Estates, and the road that comes up the hill, you're going to need a Jeep pretty soon. So just the standards today, I think I can be fairly confident in this being a planning and zoning. The standards that are enforced today, especially working through the city engineer, everything, I don't believe that would have occurred now as it may have occurred pre-2009. There was a lot of things. I know a lot of property was rezoned so they could make smaller homes. There was a great deal of things that probably went on before then. But I would highly recommend you guys get an HOA and get a lawyer.
Simon, is there anything you want to add?
Good afternoon. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Cheyenne Phillips. I live at 3250 Palmetto Street. My house is the one that has flooded twice now. It flooded first April 12th of 2020, probably around 8:30. We did have a severe storm. It was the 50-year storm that came through, flooded everything. I first spoke with Mike Henderson because I was told that the flooding was coming from county lines. And he basically told me, well, you're screwed. We can't do anything. And so then I reached out to Northport. Again, they told me, you got to talk to county. So I eventually talked to Scott, and he said, well, Mike Henderson works with machines. He kind of forgets how to talk with people. We aren't asking to have the damages repaired to our house. I am asking to prevent the flow of water to help us, because three months later, we were 3 hours away with family celebrating the 4th, announcing our first child, our pregnancy, to our family, and our alarm went off that our back door was breached and our house was flooding again. So, we can't afford to keep replacing our baseboards. We've dug a trench, we've put in a French drain, we've installed gutters. We've done everything that we financially can to help prevent this, and it's just beyond what we can financially do for ourselves. So this is why we're reaching out, is, my bedroom flooded, our entire house but 2 rooms flooded, and I have pictures as well of the progression of the sinkhole in our front yard and the water in my house. So, it's just something we can't handle anymore on our own, and we're not in an area where we can get flood insurance, and I don't want to have to worry about this in 8.5 months when I have a newborn and we're back in rainy season and our house is going to flood again. So this is why we're reaching out. We just need help.
I think the gentleman down there, Mr. Hardy, knows more people around this county than some of us combined, and I believe if anybody can try and help mediate that, he can. Doug, is this in the 100-year floodplain at all? Really? Wow.
So.
Well, if it's probably not on a map, that's the problem.
Well, it may have been prior to development of the subdivision, but when they developed the subdivision, they would have built it up to get it out of the 100-year floodplain to head off any issues with building permits or anything like that. So they would have built it up to get out of that.
Yeah, the question is did they? And did they build it up according to what was required in order to get it above that?
I don't have a quick way to go out there and check the elevation, versus sea level, state plane. I'm not real sure. I do not recall it being shown on the most recent flood maps.
That's something that I think Hardy, they could request as a matter of public record, right?
Yes. Ms. Ferguson, there's Ms. Ferguson and Dan, we're staffing this. We're going to try our dead level best at the city to address the problem and find a solution to your problem. As Ron said, he got told real quick he's not an engineer and his won't work. But I think between Scott Anders and Doug Varnon, we've got some capable folks that will work on it and hopefully institute some measures that should, in fact, I can't say we're going to eliminate it, but I think it will certainly alleviate a good portion of the problem out there. We're working at it, I promise you.
Item 8A1 under new business, it's a first reading of a rezoning of approximately .9 acres located at Lot 9 Gloryland subdivision. This is a C3 to RS or RS-SD. Ms. Ram.
Yes, sir. This is a rezoning that is requested by Glory LLC. They are requesting the rezoning. It is approximately 9/10 of an acre. The rezoning request is a result of an error in their legal description submission that was made in 2017. This is a part of the Magnolia Hills preliminary plat and master plan that has been approved by the Planning Commission, and this does come with a favorable recommendation from the Planning Commission.
All right, thank you. Is there a member of council wanted to offer this for a first reading?
I'll make that motion.
That's offered up by Councilman Roberts. 8B1 is a resolution authorizing the city administrator's office to enter into a franchise agreement with C Spire. Mr. Davis.
Yes, Mr. President, this is some very good news for the city. Last week, the governor and Senator Reed in Jasper had a press conference welcoming C Spire to Jasper. Then they're going to Trussville, and then the Tuscaloosa County, Northport, Tuscaloosa is next in the list. And they are putting in high-speed fiber optics. They are huge in Mississippi, and now they're coming into Alabama. So this will give some competition, probably faster internet, and also help us in business recruiting as well. So we wanted to hurry up and do this so that when they're working in Tuscaloosa, they can also work in the Northport area. So this is it's good enough news that the mayor decided, the governor decided to fly up to or drive, however she got there, to Jasper to welcome them this past Thursday, I believe.
I was looking at the franchise agreement. It's similar to Tuscaloosa. Is that right, Ron? All right. Is there a motion to adopt a resolution authorizing the city administrator's office to enter into a franchise agreement with C Spire?
I'll make that motion.
That's a motion by Councilman Hogg. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Hinton. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. McCullum.
Councilman Roberts,
Yes.
President Logan,
Yes.
Councilman Hinton,
Yes.
Councilman Hogg,
Yes.
motion carried.
Second item is a resolution authorizing our city administrator to request a feasibility study for a sports complex and aquatic center. Mr. Snyder.
Yes, sir. Earlier this spring, Councilman Hogg visited the Citizens Advisory Group on Recreation and Quality of Place to share his idea for a water park for the city. Since that time, that group has studied that idea amongst many other ideas to help improve recreation in this city. Since that time, this has kind of evolved into a larger conversation about what else can we do to improve the recreation and sports available in the city. The Citizens Advisory Group did have some questions and some concerns about the overall project. Really, they need more data to kind of learn the return on investment for a project that large. There are a lot of questions about infrastructure costs, location, operating, and business plans. I shared those concerns with the Projects Committee last week, and the Projects Committee is in agreement that for the city to pursue a project of this magnitude, you probably need to look at a feasibility study first. So this resolution would authorize the city administrator to issue that RFP.
Thank you, Max. Is there a member of council wanted to offer this resolution up?
President Logan, I would move to authorize the city administrator to issue a request for proposals to seek professional firms that specialize in recreation facility feasibility studies. The requested study will be used to analyze the feasibility, economic impact, site requirements, financial needs, and operating methods of a potential multi-sports complex and aquatic park. Once received, bring back to the council to vet the respective RFPs for consideration.
All right, that's a motion by Councilman Hogg. Is there a second?
Mr. President, I want to make sure that before this hits Facebook, we're not voting for a water park, okay? A feasibility study means that someone could say it's feasible. They could also come back and say it's not feasible. So before the social media lights up and everybody says that we voted to have a water park, that's not what this says. This really is to do the background work that needs to be done, period. But it's also including addressing our ball fields and other things like that. So just so everybody understands how this is kind of morphed into what we're looking at.
Yeah.
I'll second the motion.
All right, that's second by Councilman Roberts. Any further questions or comments?
I'd like to make this comment. My priority really is the sports complex. Now, I'm not opposed to the aquatic center, but I think it depends on funds available and what works out of this. But I'm certainly for this study.
Thank you, Councilman. I'll add, so we can wrap it up. I actually like the idea, like I've said in the past. I do think the feasibility study done by a professional or professional firms, we can give us a good outlook on where we're going to go, how much is it going to cost. I do like the sports complex and indoor facility. I do like the other things that you may see in another city, let's say like a Hoover sports complex. But again, I'm just comparing some stuff. But again, this is just the feasibility study, and we're going to move on. So that's a motion by Councilman Hogg, second by Councilman Roberts. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. McCullum.
Councilman Roberts,
Yes.
President Logan,
Yes.
Councilman Hinton,
Yes.
Councilman Hogg,
Yes.
motion carried.
Item C is consent agenda. There are 6 items. They range from minutes of the previous meeting, bill listings, travel and training, PO requisitions for wastewater treatment plant. And again, our treatment plant in Tuscaloosa Fire Equipment has a PO in our fire department. Again, these are 6 items. The member of council wanted to offer this up under the consent agenda for approval.
I'll make the motion.
That's a motion by Councilman Hinton. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Hogg. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. McCullum.
Councilman Roberts,
Yes.
President Logan,
Yes.
Councilman Hinton,
Yes.
Councilman Hogg,
Yes.
motion carried.
Item 9, reports of special committees to council. If any member of council had a report that they wanted to report back from their respective committee at this time.
I think I'd like to camp on to what Max has said about the subcommittee on the outdoor living. Despite COVID and everything else, this group of people has really strived to try and get together on Zoom calls or whatever we're using here. It's been rather difficult. There's several projects that we are pushing ahead. This is, I don't want anybody to think that this was the only one we were looking at. The first priority was replacing the basketball goals in District 2. So the 10th Street Park is something that the community members there are excited about, the folks in the area, and I think it's going to greatly enhance that particular area and also give something that they've not had before. And as I understand it, even though our timing doesn't match up well, Judge Hardy's going to find us some temporary location for those basketball goals. That's probably the most used unofficial park we've got in the city, quite frankly. But there's also other things we're looking at for Civitan Park. The sports, this feasibility study we're talking about will also encompass Kentuck Park. And there's a rather, I think there's been a lot of talk about the Riverwalk as well. So all of those things will be included in what we're looking at for doing for this overall vision in Northport. So.
Thank you, Councilman. Any further business of respective committees? I'll give an update on projects. I know we did meet last week, and a very productive meeting. We're trying to button down our paving schedule for this year, and finally got some really good information in terms of how we're going to structure the paving and how we're going to look at getting the contractor to get started rather quickly. Some of the items that we did discuss in projects was obviously paving, but there were some what we call roads that needed to be addressed in another manner other than your typical asphalt, more like chip and seal. So staff has gotten the city administrator's office a list of what we call non-paved roads in the city of Northport. So they range from Tom Taylor, they range from Jones Road, they range from Decent Camp. So there's a number of roads in the city limits that are actually non-paved. So those are going to be addressed in a separate item. But nonetheless, one of the roads that are going to get addressed quickly, and Hardy correct me, would be Tom Taylor. That would be the first
Right.
one.
We have already given the county engineer, the county has agreed to do the project, and we've already given them the go-ahead to proceed.
And Jones Road is another road again, looking at Decent Camp, all these things I think we were looking at from a staffing standpoint, putting them on the list and then going through and working in cooperation with the county to address them one at a time and knock them out, cross them off the list. But Projects Committee, very, very productive meeting. Again, any further business from special committees? All right. Item 10 is public hearing. I know we do have one through departmental business. We'll go to that in a minute. Item 11, City Administrator's Business. Mr. McCullum.
Yes, Mr. President, I'm going to ask Ron to address the vacation of easements on the Boys Club property. Ron, if you'll do that.
Yes, we're very excited about, we're getting ready to close on the Boys Club property with the Mensa Group for the construction of the Marriott Courtyard. As John Ray indicated at our meeting, we had our court hearing. There's been no appeals there, so we're ready to move forward on that. The next day we had a meeting, said and John predicted, since he's done a number of these, if there's any problems, it's going to be with the title company, and that's what we've been doing for the last 2 weeks, is going back and forth with the Cerroti law firm about their title commitment. I think we've worked that out. One of the things that our surveyor wanted to do in order to be able to give them literally a clean plat, and it's been the process of being prepared and ready to be signed, is to have the council pass a resolution vacating the existing wide easement that's there, and we're going to do that, and this will enable us to give them a plat without any easements on there. This will also vacate the, and that's attached as well. We got a letter from them today where they agreed to do that, so they've been very helpful with us. So looks like things are go. I saw an email from the attorney from Cerroti indicating that the proposed plat that hopefully will be signed tomorrow is fine. So I think we've got that barrier behind us. Everybody was trying, we had one lawyer that was enjoying taking his time working on it, and I'm not talking about Mr. Ray. And so once we do that, now we are still working on an agreement for that existing storm sewer that we will, although no, we won't have an easement, but we will be able to go onto the property if it needs to be repaired or cleaned out at any point. So once that is signed and agreed upon, we will then sign the plat and go through with closing.
All right, Ron, while you're talking, I was writing down for a motion, so make sure I get it, the language right. I'll make a motion to that the city vacate the Alabama Power easement referenced in the attached letter, and again, date, I think is July 17th, 2020, from Alabama Power. In addition, I'll move that the city vacate the variable utility easement referenced on the same property, and that neither easement be shown on the final plat, which will be filed for this property, making it a clean plat. And then staff internally will work with John Ray, your office, city administrator, and the attorneys for Mensa Group to work the details out regarding the agreement for storm sewer.
That's correct.
Okay.
And once that's done, then we can file the plat.
And we can file the plat, convey the land, have a groundbreaking.
Yes, sir.
Yep. That's in the form of a motion.
Second.
Thank you. That's a motion by Councilman Logan, second by Councilman Hogg. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. McCullum.
Councilman Roberts.
Yes.
President Logan.
Yes.
Councilman Hinton.
Yes.
Councilman Hogg.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Mr. McCullum, any further business?
All
I
right,
know we were
have
talking about
one
resurfacing.
other item, Mr. President. As you know, we've been working on and have about the citywide paving, and have identified several projects that needed doing. We went through and rated the streets and roads, and kind of focused on our through roads to be our number one priority, and was trying to, and not trying, we were going to be able to utilize the in-place bid of the of Tuscaloosa County with ST Bund. When we got into some discussions with ST Bund as it related to these projects, and this is, I think, is very good news. I had 2 sit-down meetings with Bund. As you know, Bund acquired Burkhalter, who was our citywide contractor last year for citywide paving. They have assumed their bids. They actually completed the bids under as the new owners of the 2019 citywide resurfacing contract. According to Alabama law, they can extend that bid another year under the same terms and conditions. And it's our recommendation, Doug and I have looked at it very carefully, and the pricing under this is very, very favorable to the city of Northport, would allow us to move forward timely and get the work underway a little quicker than originally anticipated. So we would recommend that we extend the bid of for another year under the same terms and conditions.
All right, I'll try to make that in the motion. I'll move that the city administrator's office is hereby authorized to contract for the fiscal year 2020 citywide resurfacing project with the contractor completing last year's work, again, as referenced in your synopsis, Mr. McCullum, using the same per unit cost of the bid approved by the city for the fiscal year 2019, thereby extending, again, by state law, the favorable costs and some of the same terms by state law, extending that bid, thereby extending it. So in addition, I'll move that the city administrator also authorized to contract the construction and the actual inspection services for the fiscal year 2020 citywide resurfacing project. So again, this will give the administrator's office and staff the immediately proceeding power to sign any necessary documents that they need to get the completion of the project or get it going, and then complete it with, again, the citywide resurfacing same unit costs as the 2019. So long and short, that's the form of a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Hinton. Any questions or comments? Here none, Mr. McCullum.
Councilman Roberts.
Yes.
President Logan.
Yes.
Councilman Hinton.
Yes.
Councilman Hogg.
I'm currently working with that firm, so I'm going to abstain from this vote.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Any further business, Mr. McCullum?
None, Mr. President.
Item 12, departmental business. We have two items. One is from our PD. This is an ABC license request. Again, this is a Tequila El Rincon Latino LLC ABC license. Chief Carpenter.
Police Department has no objection to the ABC license.
All right. By state code, we're required to open the floor for a public hearing. Is that right, Ron? All right. I will open the floor for a public hearing regarding this agenda item. Is any member of the public wanted to speak for or against this ABC license? Again, the police department has ran their standard typical background check through ABC and found no items. Again, the floor is open for any member of the public who wanted to speak for or against this ABC license request. All right. Seeing no members of the public want to come speak, I hereby close the public hearing. Again, is there a member of council wanted to offer this for an approve or deny?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Councilman Hogg. Is there a second? I'll make that in a second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. McCullum.
Councilman Roberts.
Yes.
President Logan.
Yes.
Councilman Hinton.
Yes.
Councilman Hogg.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Legal Department claim, again, 20-41 and 20-42. Mr. Davis.
Yes, and those are the correct numbers. I noticed a typo down at the very bottom. But, yeah, these are two claims. One's $875, one's $15. So it'll be a total of $890. So we request and recommend, the Claims Committee voted unanimously to pay these two claims for a total of $890.
Thank you. Is there a member of council wanted to make a motion to approve the claim as recommended by our Claims Committee for $890?
I'll make that motion.
That's a motion by Councilman Roberts, second by Councilman Hinton. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. McCullum.
Councilman Roberts.
Yes.
President Logan.
Yes.
Councilman Hinton.
Yes.
Councilman Hogg.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Public comment. We have one citizen signed to speak, Ms. Tamaria Madison. Good evening, Ms. Madison.
How you doing?
Doing good. Please state your name and address for the record.
Tamaria Madison, 4412 Northwood Lake Drive West.
and Northport. Here again to follow up on the way I was treated at the branding meeting by Mr. Ron Davis. This occurred back on June 12th. Sent emails, and thanks, Dre, for your 48-hour response, but it's still, I have no resolution to what was going on. Came up while I was on vacation to try to find out what are the steps in which you can write a formal complaint about something that went on to you by a city employee. They have no forms or anything, so I'm in front of the council now to see what do I do to file a formal complaint about the way I was treated at that meeting.
All right. So the formal complaint process, and I appreciate you coming up, and I did respond in 48 hours. So,
I thanked you for
and I
that
think
response.
in the email you were asking about the formal complaint process.
Right.
And I know when you came up, we probably didn't fulfill your request in terms of what you need to do in terms of steps. All right. We're going to have to go archaic if that's okay.
What do you mean?
Okay.
I work at the VA, okay? You come to the VA hospital and someone is disrespectful to you, you report it to their manager.
Right.
And something's done.
Right.
It has to be some kind of process.
I think there has to be a process, and again, if there's not one, we're going to have to find one very quickly, because if you're needing some resolution
because
yeah, we need some resolution.
I don't appreciate the investigation. I mean, I was there, Max was there, Ron was there, Mr. Hinton was there. What's wrong with us as adults sitting down?
Mhm.
I could accept Ron saying, okay, I didn't mean it like that, but he's not taking accountability for anything that he's done. Come on now, it's 2020. Let's get some resolution.
Let me do this, and again, I'm gonna open the floor for council. But again, my opinion of the matter is, let's give me something in writing. You've already done it in an email, but if we're going right to the supervisor, that would be Mr. McCullum.
I did that.
Okay.
And he said he would get back after the investigation. But after last council meeting, the way he spoke with me, I feel like, okay, what are we gonna do? Just go back and forth and still not get anything resolved? I mean, I can come up every meeting and ask for something to be done. I have no problem with that, but I'm not gonna let it go.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. McCullum,
President.
can we address Miss Madison's concern? I know we're trying to find a resolution to it, and I know she said she came up trying to get a resolution in terms of a formal complaint process. And if there's a formal complaint process, then you would know kind of which way to go.
Right.
Okay.
Because I sent the email when it occurred that night to the mayor, to everyone on the board. Thank you, Jeff, for forwarding that to Mr. McCullough, because I didn't have his email at the time. I was told an investigation would be going on. This is petty. This is real petty. All we have to do is sit down and talk, and we can get a resolution. You get better customer service at Walmart than I'm getting right now.
Well, I agree. I said that in my email. I said I think it may be something we need to sit down and talk. So I'm gonna just say that as just some way to find a resolution.
Here it is a month later.
Yeah.
And we still talking about investigating. Like I told you after you talked to Mr. O'Rourke, why are we doing all this he say, she say?
Right.
Mr. Hinton, you were at that meeting. Max, you were at that meeting. Ron, I mean, come on, let's as adults sit down and get this resolved. But if it takes me coming up every time we have a meeting to ask, I'll do it.
Well, this is what I'll suggest. I do think that Hardy, with Ron, Ms. Madison, let's sit down and talk this out, because I think that is your direct request, which, again, that's what you wanted in the email. I think I read some in the email. That's kind of, yeah.
Point blank.
Mr. President, I believe I made that offer at the last council meeting.
No, you didn't.
And to sit down with Ms. Madison, I'll be more than happy to do so. I'll be more than happy to arrange a meeting with her. I think I have exhausted my investigation, so I'll be glad to make a report in writing, and after I have had the opportunity to sit down with Ms. Madison.
All right. Well, let's do that, Ms. McCullum. Just we need to sit down with Ms. Madison. Let's talk exactly the concern.
Let's schedule a date and time right now.
Let's schedule a date. We'll talk it through. So, what is a good date for you, Ms. Madison?
I'm flexible.
Mr. McCullum, I know. What is a good date as far as getting with Ms. Madison so you guys can sit down discuss the issue.
Wednesday will be fine with me, Mr. President.
All right, Wednesday, what's a good time, Ms. Madison, on Wednesday?
After 4,
Do you want to say 4:30?
that's fine.
All right, 4:30 Wednesday. That would be the 22nd.
And where will we be meeting?
Well, you guys can meet at City Hall.
I want everything, so it's no,
Mm-hmm. It'll
so
be,
we'll meet here at the city hall?
yes, ma'am. Hard is it? We're going to meet Wednesday, July 22nd, 4:30 City Hall.
Correct.
All right.
I'll be there.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Ms. Madison. See no further citizens signed to speak. Item 14, Mayor and Council members' business. I'll start with Mayor Aaron.
Thank you, President Logan. I just want to make just a couple of comments. We have Mr. Roberts, who is resigned as of 31st of July, and tonight will be his last formal meeting. And I would like to tell Mr. Roberts how much I've appreciated his stepping up to the plate and providing the kinds of information and providing the kinds of dialogue that we have needed. He has been a very good council member. He has really been outstanding, and I have appreciated the fact that he stepped up to the plate and has done what he has done and provided the kind of leadership that he has provided. And I, for one, will certainly miss him. But I know that's not a possibility. He has obligations, especially in Texas now, with 2 new grandbabies. So, but I have appreciated knowing him, and he has done a lot for District 1, a whole lot for District 1. I just want to thank him for that.
Thank you, Mayor. District 1, Councilman Roberts, the floor is yours. Again, what you say will be on the formal record from here on out.
Promise?
I mean, it'll be on the agenda.
Mayor, I appreciate it. Yeah, July 31st is my last date, and that's because I will no longer be a District 1 citizen. There were other issues. Matter of fact, my first grandson was born at 10:30 this morning, so when I talked to staff, I didn't know that, but I do know that now. And he was a hog, not a Jeff hog, but he was 9 pounds 4 inches, 4 pounds, or 9 pounds 4 ounces. So I'm looking forward to getting out there. I would like to say that this has been an honor to work with the city. I never thought that I would ever do something like this. I think I got wrangled into this because I got mad at a planning and zoning meeting, and then Rodney Sullivan said, wait a minute, you need to come here. So I hope it's been to the benefit of everybody. I really have enjoyed my time here, and I'll still be in Northport working for the future, but I've got, I'm not quite sure where I'm going to be living. This has been a great city. When I first got here, all I heard was old men complaining. They've probably been the same men complaining for the last 30 years. And really, I would challenge folks to wake up and realize that what you've seen in the last couple of years is so much different than what you've seen in the past. And there's some things that need to change, not only with you know, how you want to move forward, but that also includes our attitudes as citizens. It needs to include our attitudes on who we choose to believe when it comes to city government and the elected officials. I'll tell you that 75 to 80% of the problems are folks that have been elected in the past, and y'all are the ones that elect them. So you need to challenge folks to do a better job of understanding what they're getting into. This is not just a job where you can come up here and be a big man on campus if you're going to be effective. This is a great staff. I told the staff earlier, it's a fantastic staff. It takes all kinds of people to run things, and yeah, there's always going to be good employees and bad employees, but this is a really good staff, and they really deserve credit for working in a city that really at times doesn't give them an ounce of credit or even any respect. this is not an easy job. And if you believe this is an easy job, this would be the equivalent of bagging groceries while 78 people tell you you're doing it wrong. That's what it's like running the city. So, again, I appreciate it. This has been fun. I have enjoyed Hardy being here. And now that I'm gone, Ron becomes the lowest man on the totem pole. So he's going to bear the brunt of all the jokes now. So I don't have to be in trouble. So that's all I had, sir.
You sure? All right. District 2 under my business. All right, Councilman Roberts, again, you came in, you really stepped up. I know we needed a really effective council member for District 1, and you really proved us correct, and I really enjoyed working with you. Some items, you know, we didn't agree on a whole lot of stuff. We agreed on a lot more than most people know about. Again, I didn't want to quote what you said earlier, but maybe when you first come on, bobbing up the river, if you go back and look at Tuscaloosa News, it's quoted. So that's what I will remember you for. And then just a steady hand you always work with. Again, I enjoyed working with you. I wish you well out in Texas. I know you enjoying your grandkids and your family, so I wish you much success and many blessings. So I really appreciate working with you. Also under my business, again, I know Ron and I were working, and again, Max and development team were working on the Marriott. If you noticed, July 1st, we went to Circuit Court Judge Roberts' courtroom. It went well. Now we're in the title conveyance process, so that work is being done now, as you just heard the council vote on it. So the conveyance of land will be next. That should be short order, and then the groundbreaking should be very soon after. So again, very good day for the city of Northport. That's going to be some needed jobs for citizens in the city. And again, many thanks to Mansa LLC and, of course, the city council for seeing the vision in that part of that district with me. So again, 10th Street Park, Councilman Roberts, I know we worked together on that citizen committee, and that's the first project that they identified as one to get done. COVID kind of stopped us. You know, we'd have had this thing kind of nipped in the bud and done, but nonetheless, we've got a really, really good project coming to 10th Street in that area of my district. Again, many thanks to the council that seeing that vision on it. So temporary courts, Hard and I are working on a temporary solution while the project on 10th Street is being constructed. You won't miss a beat or miss a bounce of a ball, so to speak, when you're playing. So that's going to be something that we'll get out to the public pretty short before we do the groundbreaking. So that's all under my business. District 3, Councilman Hinton.
Mr. President, I came on the council late. I've only been on the council about a year and a half now. I've had a lot to learn, and I've appreciated Councilman Roberts' knowledge and his expertise in so many of the issues that we have dealt with. He's really been an outstanding councilman, and we're going to miss you greatly.
Thank you again. Councilman Davis is out. District 5, Pro Tem Hogg.
Have anything from my district per se, but I do want to thank Tony for coming on board and really helping us out through so many different things that we've had to address, and really appreciated your knowledge and your thoroughness, and also keeping the rest of us level-headed at times. So appreciate you being here. So hope you have a great time in Texas with the grandkids, and don't be a stranger.
I won't. Matter of fact, if I stay in the city, Donna has apparently taken my truck lien and my bank account so I could stay on planning and zoning. The legal letter that says that I got to stay on there if I stay in the city, which I'm not sure yet.
All right. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
That's a motion by Councilman Hogg, second by Councilman Roberts. All in favor, please say yes. All opposed, same sign. We adjourn.